Okay, Rambam Sefer Misvot Aseh, positive commandments, Misvah Nun Bet, number 52. We're still speaking of the korbanot that we bring and in the Bet HaMikdash and the Musaf extra korbanot on the various different holidays and designated days. Now the Rambam will temporarily move off of that to speak of these holidays known as the Regalim mainly, although we've discussed other holidays, we mentioned Yom Kippur, Rosh Hashanah, but these Regalim, Misvot, including Korbanot Misvot, relevant to those holidays. And then we'll jump into Pesach with a number of Misvot that, of course, is apropos to our current season. So Mizvah Nun Bet, number 52. We have special Mizvah, of course, of Aliyah, the pilgrimage to the Bet HaMikdash 3 times a year. The source, Hashem commands, celebrate 3 what's called Regalim. Of course, the word regel, leg or walk, travel is in that word. And that's probably why it's called, the holidays are called Regalim. Celebrate for me every year. So the Torah has also explained that within this Mizvah of going up to Israel and to Yerushalayim and to the Bet HaMikdash 3 times a year, when it says Tahog, this Hagigah, this celebration, is that whoever does come up has to do so with a korban. Which one? So first of all, there's many times in the Torah that it mentions this Mizvah of Aliyah LaRegel. Ushonam, for instance, I'm sorry, the Mizvah, the Rambam is not going to name those other times, but there's a number of them. Ushonam in the Gemara, Hachamim tell us, Shalosh Mizvot Nohagot Barechel. Then when you come up, besides the Mizvah of the pilgrimage, there are 3 other Mizvot that we must practice upon arriving there. Hagigah, Ra'ayah, V'Simcha. As we'll see, these are all korbanot. The first one's called Hagigah. The next 2 we'll discuss in the next Misvot. As it says, Tahog li bashana. That's why the Rambam chose this pasuk to speak of the Mizvah of the pilgrimage, because this also alludes to a Mizvah of a korban. V'Hagigah zo anyana yakreb korban shalamim. So there's a special Mizvah when you come up on the 3 Regalim to offer a korban that takes the form of the category of korbanot called shalamim, but it'll be for the specific reason to fulfill the obligation of korban hagigah, the celebrating korban. Ve'en hanashim hayavot, but women are exempt because it's time constrained. Uchvarit ba'arub mishpetei mizvazov m'maser hagigah, and these are Misvot. This Mizvah is discussed in the tractate Hagigah. Now, because women are exempt, it doesn't mean that they shouldn't be coming up La Regel, as we'll discuss further. But that flows us into Mizvah Nun Gimel, number 53. Hi shesivanu leheraot baregalim. Literally means we have the obligation to appear on the 3 holidays called the 3 Regalim. The source is, and this is another source that tells us about coming up, but now refers to another obligation. Shalosh pa'amim bashana yera'eh kol zechuracha. All your males must appear. V'anyanam zot hamizvah. What is this? Shi'aleh adam lemechdash im kol ben zachar shiyeh lo shiyuchal alechet berachlav. That a person must come up to the Bet HaMikdash with any male son that he has that's able to walk. We learned that from the wording of the Pesukim. Torah Sheba'al learns. So the Mizvah is to bring a child that you don't have to carry but could walk on his own. And Yakriv Korban Olah Beri'iyato. And upon your appearance, as the Pasuk says, Yera'eh, you shall appear. You bring what's called you'll bring a Korban Olah, a burnt offering. V'hu nikret Olat Re'iyah. The special name given to that Korban Olah is the Olah of appearance. And that's what the Torah is referring to when it says Yira'eh kol zichurecha, your males shall appear. And that's the second of the three special korbanot that's named in the Gemara. The first one was Hagigah, which is incorporated in the last Misvah, the Misvah of pilgrimage. The second here is independent, and that is the Re'iyah, the burnt offering of appearance. Ukfar kadam nanu amaro shalosh masot, as we mentioned in the last Misvah. The Gemara tells us there are three Misvot upon the pilgrimage. The same Masechet Hagigah discusses it. Again, here the Torah says explicitly, Kol zechurecha, your males, so that females obviously are exempt from it, which flows us into Mizvah Nun Daled, number 54. So the Rambam gives us an overarching umbrella-like title, and that is to be happy, to rejoice in the regalim. We'll see that this is going to include a number of details. First of all, the source is be happy on your holiday. First and foremost, we just mentioned that on the Shalosh Regalim we have three Misvot: Hagigah, Re'iyah, and Simcha. So this is the third of those three. So the first idea that's alluded to in this command, which is another korban. It's a korban shilamim. The first korban shilamim was what's called a hagigah. This is a plain korban shilamim. What do you do with the korban shilamim? The owner eats most of the flesh. Some of it goes to the kohen, the rest, the fat's on the mizbeach. But that is the third korban that we must bring upon making the pilgrimage to Yerushalayim. The elu shilamim nosafim al shameh hagigah, over and above the other shalamim. The hem nikraim, the Talmud Gemara labels them shalmeh simcha, korban shalamim of simcha, of happiness. Umeakrabat shalamim elu yomru nashim hayavot besimcha. But these, the Hachamim figured out that women are obligated in this korban and the general obligation of rejoicing. Ukvar ba'akatuv zabachta shilamim. The separate pasuk, besides the Shalosh Regalim pasuk, that obligates us in this mizvah. Ukvar ba'aru mishpetei mizvah zo, again the Masechet Hagigah. Uchlal, and included in this mizvah, it's not just the korban. Amru v'samachta b'hagecha. There's other types of modes of rejoicing, vehicles through which we rejoice and fulfill this obligation. Eating meat, drinking wine on the holiday, the Shlosh Regalim, wearing new clothing, and giving out fruits and sweets to the children and to the women. Bechol nigun, and to play all types of instruments, and to dance, but mikdash levad. So playing instruments and dancing is only for the Bet HaMikdash. V'hi simchat Bet HaShoevah, on Sukkot, that's the name given to it by Hachamim. The party of called Bet HaShoevah, when they draw the water to put on the libation on the Mizbeach on Sukkot. All that is included in this mizvah called rejoice on your holiday, simcha, samachta b'chagecha. And we can say of those physical indulgements, the more significant is the wine. Because that really is associated more with happiness. Lashon HaGemara, and a person should make his children rejoice. They didn't follow the rule of the 21-year age drinking limit. That makes so much sense, of course, in New York State, because you can't have a drop before you're 21. You can get wasted after you're 21, no problem. Instead, the Torah just says, teach your children the right way to do things. Make them happy with yain. Bisham amru, Tanya, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Bizman Shebet HaMikdash Kayam, En Simcha Basar. Shinema v'zeh Achta Shiramim. There in the Gemara, there's a Beraita. Rabbi Yehuda says, time of the Bet HaMikdash, the way to celebrate with rejoicing, is with meat, and that's specifically the meat of the korban. You offer a korban shilamim, the owner has most of it, and that's the eating of meat. Akshav and some ha'ila says, but today we replace that rejoicing with wine. Shineman v'yayin yisamach lebad be'enosh, as it says in the pasuk in the Misvot we read for Rosh Chodesh. Ukvar amru gamken anashim bara'ui lahem v'nashim bara'ui lahem. Also the Gemara says, women and men to each his own. In other words, whatever makes them rejoice more. But the Torah who shenechla b'simchazo ha'anashim ha'chalushim va'aniyim va'agirim v'omro yitbarach and also including this mitzvah is to include the less fortunate and make sure they have joy. The weak, the poor, the strangers, the converts. As the Torah says, Halevi, who is less taken care of, Ger, the stranger, the convert, widow, and the orphan. And that is the real simcha, as the Rambam says also, is making sure that those need taken care of are taken care of on the regel. We shouldn't be rejoicing while someone around the corner is crying. And within this, the Rambam also brings down in the halachot, in Misvot, to buy your wife clothing and gifts and jewelry for the holiday. As we already mentioned here, of giving out the sweets, which could be also nowadays toys, whatever it is to the kids, and making sure they're engaged, happy. So Samachta b'Hagecha is an umbrella for the third korban, Shalmei Simcha, as well as general ways of physically indulging and rejoicing on the holiday. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen.